Do you ever wonder if the athletes that we cheer for are actually sports fans themselves? Well, we set out to answer that question, so why don't you take a look at this. I'm Jonny Voss, and we're at the Hubert H. Humphrey Metrodome today. I'm actually standing on the Major League Baseball in Stadium. You know how many times I have seen this thing from afar, from way up in the cheap seats? We're actually on the field today. Minutes before batting practice, the Arizona Diamondbacks are in town. We're gonna be on this field for a few more minutes, I guess. I'm thunderstruck. Why they don't play Al Green? Jonny Voss, I'm here with Jacque Jones, the Hubert H. Humphrey Metrodome, and you're from San Diego. You grew up a Padres fan?
Yeah, Padres.
Talking to Chris Gomez, and I was wondering, now you're California boy, is that correct?
Yeah.
Who did you grow up as a fan for?
All the LA teams.
Here comes Lecroy. Now, I was wondering, growing up in South Carolina, who's a fan of? Is it just like the whole South that loved the Braves before Florida got any teams, or what's the deal on that?
No, definitely the Braves.
Yeah.
You know, we didn't have nothing really around us, but they had a farm team there, and right near where I lived at, which was with the Braves, and in Atlanta, nothing. There was no other team.
I was a big fan of Chicago Cubs and Andre Dawson. You know, he was one of the guys. There wasn't that many, black players that I knew in baseball, and he was one of them. And when I would go out and play it, I would always say, I was Andre Dawson.
Right.
And that's
the Hawk? Is that what they call him? That's right.
And he was the man. And one day he called me when I was in AA and talked to me, and that was a big thing for me, And I grew up, loving this guy, and I finally get to talk to him on the telephone.
Being from Northern California, I grew up a big Oakland A's fan. I grew up in the days of the Bash Brothers. I used to watch Mark McGwire and Jose Canseco, so they're my two favorite players growing up.
My favorite team growing up was the Jets. Winnipeg Jets. A big Dale Howardchuk fan, Timo Solani. Those are Daniel Berthune, Pokey Reddick. Those are a couple of my favorite players. And then,
Did you keep an eye on baseball at all, or were you just big hockey guy?
I was just watching hockey.
And do you ever have that soft spot for the Padres yet? Do you still watch them on the corner of your eye?
Yeah, I try to watch and see what they're doing. I got friends on the team. It's still my hometown team, but like last week when we played against them, I wanted to beat them. When you play against them, it all goes out the window.
Do you ever keep your eye on these guys, on the Oakland A's? Now you're with the Twins. I mean, do you have a soft spot for these guys?
No, not anymore. Not
anymore.
After the
You just want to
playoffs
beat them,
last year.
right?
I just want to go out there and get them.
My wife does. Last year we played the Braves in interleague play, and I think deep down she might have been rooting for the Braves.
It's kind of hard when you play against them. If they were in the playoffs and we weren't, I'd probably root for them. But other than that, I really don't. I keep up more with teams that I've played for, and mostly players more than anything else.
Yeah, I focus on Twins victories. Now that I'm older and Andre Dawson not playing anymore, so I'm not a big fan of those guys. But I still catch myself, getting in that Cubs feeling. When I watch the games, I kind of reminisce, and remember watching the baseball games with my dad in Arkansas. There's no pro teams there. All we had was WGN, the Superstation. So that's what we watch.
I'm a huge fan. I've been a huge Twins fan forever, and get a little emotional sometimes during big games and whatnot. And sometimes I'm maybe too emotional at these games. Is there anything when you were a kid growing up, ever do anything crazy in the stands?
Never been in the stands. The first Major League game I've been to is the one I played in.
Is that right?
Yeah, so I never, and like I said, Arkansas has no Major League teams and no basketball teams, no nothing.
No, I'm pretty low-key. I would never do anything. I don't know, I was always too much into the game.
What's the craziest thing that you've seen a fan do as a player?
I've seen a lot of fans take balls in the face on foul balls. I know that's not on purpose.
The only thing I can think of is the women pulling up their shirts. I don't know.
You get a lot of that? You get a lot of that? Or?
Sometimes you do.
Probably last night after Lou Ford got a couple hits, a fan said Jones who, and put in Lou. So
the craziest fan. I saw a fan one time in a bikini, a man with all his hair on his body. Looked like a werewolf with a bikini on.
What's the craziest thing you ever did?
The Clipper game.
We just rode Stefan. Wolves fans. And Marbury broke my heart, man. He did. So we stayed behind we had tickets right behind the Nets bench. We stood up the whole game, just harassed them the entire game, and take our shirts off, and just it was pretty ugly. Barbara and Scott told us to shut up and finally just let it go, you know. But Marbury was jawing in and back and forth, you know.
That's what it's all about.
That's right.
Get them the jaw back.
That's right. I appreciate your time again.
Okay.
Well, this has been a wonderful experience. You know, this is the first time for me. It's not the first time being on the field, but the first time actually getting to meet and talk with some of these guys. Twins were very friendly today. Had a great time. Jonny Voss signing off. Well, that was great. That was, you know, as a fan, I got to say, for being... Just a few weeks ago, I was in the stands, you know, throwing hot dogs or batteries or whatever at these guys, and then I get to actually be down there while they're taking batting practice. It's great, but I regret to inform you that as soon as we got done with that Kyle Loshe interview, he went on the biggest skid right after that. So maybe we won't do that again.